The best way for you to understand collections is to use them. And so this first exercise, I do not care if you do each one of these in a separate program, or if you have one big long program, or maybe you split it into a couple. It is up to you how you are going to format the program. The minimum requirements are that you have to use the Q collection. You need to add 5 items. Check to see if the queue contains a specific item and display a message. Do not remove the item from the queue, which means you have to use peek. Okay? Remove at least one different item from the queue. Count the items in the queue and display the count, and then print all of the items. Okay? There are plenty of examples in the lecture demo and the book. So you're going to want to look through those examples and create your own. And so what I would do is, do something that interests you, do it a list of friends, family, hobbies, games, random numbers, whatever you want. The point here is that you start learning how to create these list objects and use the methods and the properties. Okay, so that's the idea. So you're going to do the queue, then you're going to do a priority queue. Okay, and so you're going to do add 5 items to the priority queue. You're going to find and display the highest priority item, and then you're going to remove that item. And you'll continue displaying the highest priority item and removing it until all of the items are removed. For a stack, you're going to, again, add 5 items. You're going to see if the stack contains a specific item and display a message. You're going to remove at least one item, count the items in the stack, display the count, and print all of the items. You're going to notice these are all very similar requirements. Linked list, that linked list class also implements linked node list. So you're going to end up using both. And you're going to add 5 items to a linked list. You're going to retrieve and display the first node. So that's the first item in the list. Retrieve and display the last node. You are going to add a 6th item to the middle of the list. Okay, and so you determine, what the exact location is, but it should be somewhere in the middle. Remove a node from the list. It can be the first one, it can be the last one, or it can be at a specific location. Does not matter to me. You're going to count all of the items in the list and display the count, and then you're going to print out your linked list. You're going to use a dictionary collection. And again, going to add 5 items. You are going to retrieve and display the keys. You're going to retrieve and display the values. And then you are going to retrieve and display both the keys and the values. You're going to remove an item from the dictionary and display a count of the dictionary items. You're going to do a sorted list. Again, 5 items. You are going to allow the user to enter a key and a value, and you're going to need to check to see if the key exists. And if the key is already there, you are going to have to handle the problem. So, I mean, you can choose to remove the key and then add the new one, display an error message, however you want to handle that. But another requirement here is to remove an item from the list. So if you want to combine steps 2 and 3, you can do that. So you can allow the user to enter a key, and if you check for to see if the key exists, and if it exists, you decide to remove it, you are meeting requirement 2 and requirement 3. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do that. And then you're going to print the key and the value. You will also do a hash set. You're going to add 5, and a hash set, all that is it is a set with key value pairs like a dictionary. So you're going to add 5 items to a hash set object, create a similar hash set object with 5 items, and then you're going to do a third hash set object with 5 more items. And 2 of the items should be the same as items in your first or second list. So I want some duplicate values there. You're going to use a command to combine the first and second objects, store the combined items in the first object and print it out. And then you're going to create a new hash set object to store duplicates. You are going to use a command to display items that appear in both the first object list and the third object list. And you will store the results in your new hash set object. I don't want your first or your third objects changed. That's why you created a new object. So you could store basically the duplicates in that new object. You're going to print out the contents of the object, and then you'll be done. The last collection that you're going to mess around with is the list. You're going to add 5 items to a list. You're going to use the add range method to add 3 more. You're going to sort the list and print all the items. You're going to remove at least 1 item, and then you're going to sort the list in reverse order and print all the items out. Okay, and there are tons of examples for you guys to look at that are similar to what you're being asked to do. Okay, and once you're done with that, then you are going to create another program, and you're going to allow the user to enter 2 double value numbers. You're going to create a lambda expression that adds the numbers. You're going to create a lambda expression that multiplies the numbers. And you're going to create a lambda expression or statement that compares the numbers and returns the smaller value. Okay, so you're going to have 2 values that the user entered. You're going to have 2 lambda expressions, and you're going to have a lambda statement. Then you're going to have console.writeLine statements that use the first lambda expression. You're going to have a console.writeLine that uses the second lambda expression. And you're going to have a console.writeLine that uses the lambda statement. So this is really, really similar to what I did in this last example. Okay, I've got 2 expressions. I've got the 1 statement. You guys only have to work with 2 numbers. You don't have to work with an array. So yours is even simpler than this example. Okay, and then you'll print out those values. So that is the assignment. And it is purposefully not as directive because I want you guys to figure out what kind of list that you want to create. I have tons and tons of examples in here, and there are examples in the book for every one of these collections. Okay, and so between all of the examples, you should be able to come up with some code for each of these collections. So if you have questions about what you need to do, please ask, but I want you guys to give it a shot and make sure you look through these examples that are in the lecture and the book.